How's it?
How's good?
How's it?
Hi. Let's see if
Are we live? We got the live feed going on?
it's
Fingers
trying. It's trying.
crossed. It's thinking. It's thinking.
Thinking.
So where do I meet? This one, right?
Perfect. Bada bing, bada boom. We're live.
All right. We are for sure live right now.
Hi, welcome, and thank you for joining us for our monthly FounderNV Masterclass. Tonight, we're joined by Jacob Curtis, a social media director and digital marketing strategist with over 10 years of experience working with startups and major brands. We're excited to have him here tonight to show us how AI can simplify and scale our social media. Welcome, Jacob.
Right. Hey, oh. All right. Well, I'm so excited to be back in Vegas for my Netflix special. I thought of that joke on the car ride over here because I was stuck in traffic. But all right, so here we go. Scaling smarter, using AI to build your social media strategy. So how many of y'all are using AI currently in your marketing? Show of hands. All right, we got a little so-so. Okay, a little halfway. Anyone using it particularly for their social media? Okay, so if you choose to, this is going to be a complete workshop where I'm going to give you the framework and the prompts and everything you need to make your own sustainable social media strategy. Now, sustainable is a key word here, especially as founders, your resources are limited. So I want to make sure that I'm able to provide you something that you can use over and over again and not burn yourself out while you're busy doing the founder things. Okay, great. And why is that? Well, social media does feel like a full-time job, and that's because it is. And really, AI is changing how we brainstorm, create, and plan. So really with this workshop here, what I want to do is provide you practical tools, live prompts, and we're going to go through a real, well, semi-real example of how you can use this. So the agenda today, just going to talk a little bit about why AI for social media. We're then going to talk about the social media landscape. So this is very important to understand what's kind of the sandbox looking like here. What are other people doing? How are other marketers using AI? And then what AI tools we'll be using for this demonstration. And then what makes a sustainable social strategy. We'll have some workshop exercises here, some bonus material, and then closing with some takeaways and a Q&A. So let's start with why AI for social. It's really going to allow you to brainstorm faster, repurpose smarter, stay consistent without burnout, and make social media sustainable. So really, it's not about replacing creativity. It's about scaling your ideas into manageable, repeatable systems. How's that sound to everyone? Good? Perfect. All right, so let's talk about the social media landscape here. So how are current marketers using social media now? And this is in 2024, so you can only imagine that this is different from where we're at now, and different in a way of more adoption. We see that a lot of marketers are using this to edit and refine text. So writing what their Instagram caption would be, which hashtags to use, what their YouTube description should be, what their title should be, things of that nature. Producing that directly from scratch, and also now using it to develop ideas. Now, they are kind of lacking in the generate images or modifying images. However, AI continues to just evolve leaps and bounds to where this is a lot more manageable to do as well now. So it's really important to think about your organic social media. And what we're going to be talking about here is our organic side. So this is different from running paid ads on Facebook. This is specifically what you're posting without any money behind it. Now, I like to make that distinction because it's important to understand that your organic social media needs to have different ROI metrics than your paid ads. So for example, when there was a survey done with how marketers or social media marketers are using organic social media ROI metrics. And you see here that sales and revenue comes in at a strong 14%. So it's really important to understand that, while there is social media that can help you sell things, the main leverage for that is going to be through ads. There's also social shopping where you can buy directly from in-app. That's definitely a thing. It's not overly adopted yet. It's definitely getting there as people become more comfortable with getting that information into these social platforms. But I really like this slide, and I show this to a lot of clients when they come on board to really illustrate that impressions and views or engagement and even followers, these are going to be primarily what you're looking for. Clicks and traffic here at 43%. Facebook's now testing a subscription option where you have to sign up to post 3 links a month. Otherwise, you won't be able to post any, or you'd be limited to posting about 3 links a month unless you subscribe to their Facebook business, their meta verification. So interesting take there. Also, with followers here, this landscape's changing all the time. So Instagram just released saying that they're testing friends now. So it won't, there's a likelihood that it won't show following anymore or followers. It'll actually show how many people are following you that you're also following. Wild West out there. We're just trying to keep track. So understanding why people follow a brand on social, to stay informed about new products and services, access to exclusive deals or promotions, the content they post is enjoyable and entertaining, and to engage with the community or customers, and because their values align with missions that are theirs. So I do like to illustrate this as well too, because while there is like, oh man, we got to get our mission that people love, and we're going green, and it's just like, just provide a good service and a good product, and like, don't really worry about that other stuff. It's very auxiliary to what you actually want to be, using your social for. So having exclusive deals or promotions. How many of y'all run social media promotions on your pages or anything like that? Okay, not yet. Maybe comedy ticket discounts. Maybe I know you. So the social media landscape. Audience give too much self-promotion a thumbs down. So I'm going to kind of teach you how to balance the scales of engaging content versus self-promotion or very product focused. Now, it's okay to talk about your products on social. I don't want you to think that you can't talk about what you do. There's just a very particular way that you can do it. So it's what I term like subliminal seduction. We're not overtly beating them over the head with our products, but say we might be talking about an educational side of the product that can help bring people lower into that funnel to where they learn more about it and then they can convert later on. So the content formats consumers want, and this is, I didn't really update this because this is pretty typical in what we see today as well too. Really that short form video stands out. The idea here is just get to the point. You'll notice a lot of content nowadays, it has like a very strong hook, the substance. You have to almost, instead of a typical narrative where you give the outcome at the end, you almost need to put the outcome in the beginning, or the what you want them to see. So think of it like that. Now people will still watch long form content. However, you got to just make sure to hook them in the beginning to keep them watching through. Now there is this whole like, oh, people have the attention span of a goldfish, yada yada. And that is true in some capacity, but people still watch movies. So there is still something to storytelling and doing it right. All right, so this is a big one here too. Back in my day, when I first started on Facebook marketing, it was around 2012. And when you posted something on Facebook, your followers saw it. That's a reason why they followed you, to see those updates. It was almost like subscribing to your email list. Now, over time, these platforms, especially on Meta, have become pay to play. So I do like to illustrate this because if you're doing organic only, you'll need to supplement it somehow with a boosting strategy. So putting paid or fuel in the engine. The important thing is that what we're going to go through today and what we'll develop is a sustainable social strategy where you'll have different content themes and formats to where you'll actually be able to invest and put fuel in the right engines and not just be doing it all willy-nilly and not getting the return you're looking for. Another thing to understand right now is that social media, as far as the landscape goes, a lot of engagement is moving towards the inbox. Seems to be in social comment feeds and such, there's just a lot of like volatility, especially on some of these platforms where you can remain a little bit more anonymous. A lot of people don't like to comment anymore now simply because either they don't want to get creeped on or stalked or doxxed or anything like that. And they also don't want to put up with trolls. So it's unfortunate that social media public engagement, so comments, really has moved to the inbox. So just understand, the reason I'm telling you this is because if you say, man, no one's commenting on my stuff, it's not you. It's just the landscape of social. Now, there's definitely ways to generate comments, right? You can incentivize, hey, comment, we'll select one winner, things like that. Or just naturally, you can kind of build in kind of these like banger quotes within your content too that really get people to comment. You'll see a lot of the times if some of these like lifestyle coaches or things like that, they'll have like one like quotable in their content that you'll then see in the comments. People will requote that and be like, man, that one line, Love that one. So there are kind of ways to thread that into your content. And really, engagement's taking a tumble across the board. So in 2025, engagement across the board with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X really taking a hit here as well too. So I'm just saying that there is engagement happening, but don't be entirely concerned if you're not getting like a massive amount of comments or things like that. Okay. There's other ways that you can track your ROI, and we'll get into that later on in this deck. But I just kind of wanted to, again, give you the landscape of what you're dealing with. We won't click on this video, but this is Gary Vee here, and he's talking about how algorithms have changed to not necessitate following a channel. Before, you had to follow a channel to get their content. Now these algorithms have evolved to where if the algorithms know I need to keep Jacob on this platform by giving him the same content that he's looking at all the time, it's going to give me that content whether or not I subscribe to that channel. On TikTok, for example, you'll actually find that people don't want to follow your brand or your account because that puts you in your following feed and not your For You page. So there's also that going on. Again, as mentioned, how Instagram may be moving towards a friends and not followers number anymore. This is still evolving here, but this is kind of some of the rumblings going down. So that's tough as well too, right? Because as a founder who may be looking to grow their audience or use that as, say, a vanity metric or a social proof, that's still very relevant, right? But just know that it's harder than ever to grow that. But there are also things you could do like, follow giveaways, things like that. I would say if you are doing a giveaway and you're like, tag a friend, and you both need to follow our page to win, just make sure that the friend gets something too, okay? Like that just really grinds my gears when like the person gets tagged and they're like, why are you tagging me in this? But stern unfollow. So the big picture is organic social is no longer free. And this is the context of why we're using AI to make content sustainable. Quality plus consistency matter more than ever. So now that we know what's going on, let's talk a little bit about the AI tools we'll be using. So there's already about 200 or 2,000 plus generative AI tools out there as of 2026. So we're going to be diving into each of one of these and going through how we can use them to make a sustainable strategy. I'm just joking. What we will be using, though, is ChatGPT, because that's really going to be your catch-all and exactly what you need for this. Now, it's not lost on me that there are other social media or AI tools out there that can help you do anything from image generation. There's even a lot of AI within a lot of common apps already, too, like Canva has its own AI now. Photoshop has its own AI now. So really what this tool will be for ChatGPT here in the context of this presentation will be something that you as the founders can subscribe to. If you want, you could use my affiliate code. It's another joke, but the free version will work for this too. Just curious though, how many people have a paid ChatGPT account? Cool. Yeah, great. So what we'll be able to do is use ChatGPT for all of the above. So when it comes to a general approach to social media marketing, now think of this as how to do social. First of all, we want to de-silo it. So too often do we find that social media is working in its own vacuum unit or its own echo chamber. Now, what we want to do is make sure that social is supporting your actual business objectives, and there's ways to do that. Through an omni-channel calendar, and we'll get into that in a later slide. You want it to be serialized. So I like to say, think of your social media channels as like a TV station, okay? There is an audience who tunes in to watch programming and becomes fans or followers. So we want to develop some serialized social content. Now, that's going to build a habit of tune-in. So, I know that, ma'am, what's your name, comedian? Sadia. I know you'd be down for this. So say Sadia has an episodic series. Now I'm talking about like, hey, this is episode 1 of the making up a joke or how I make a bit. It's like just make a similar format that you can replicate over and over that your audience gets used to. So don't think of it that as some linear narrative of like episode 1 Stranger Things, episode 2 Stranger Things. Just think of it as a format that people can recognize easily. That's also going to help you generate, say, those followers because they'll understand, oh, I can actually tune into this person and this is what they're providing. Another key point on this side of things is this is going to allow you to produce in bulk, which as a founder is going to be very important because it's going to allow you to build it and then schedule it and then get back to what you need to be doing. Fewer, better, boosted. New studies are coming out that say posting more often doesn't necessarily lead to better metrics or engagement. In fact, it actually has a detrimental effect. So you want to be very consistent and mindful about what you're posting. Don't think of, I need to post 3 times a week. It's like, I'd rather just do fewer posts, but make them better. And then put some fuel in that engine too. So what you could do is say post, depending on what's sustainable for you, post once a week, put maybe $50 to $100 behind that post so that it's delivered throughout the week. And then you're fine. You're getting that engagement that you're looking for. But really, when you boost, you want to just make sure that you're boosting the right content. And that's why it's important to have a content strategy, which we'll get into. So this is very rigid. This is what you term always on content. This is going to allow you to set it and forget it. However, social media and culture is always evolving. There's always things going on. So the only reason we want you to have this rigid, always on strategy that we'll talk about is to actually give you the time when something does come up that's relevant to your industry to be nimble with that. Okay. So we do want to still be able to cover timely news and trends to complement always on programming. Now, you definitely don't want to be trend jacking that doesn't make sense. Oftentimes you'll do, again, you'll be more cringe than conversion. Sounds like a course right there. But yeah, basically, this is just going to allow you to be more nimble. So what a sustainable social media strategy looks like. And we're going to go through each of these, okay? It's going to be anchored in 3 to 4 thematic content pillars. It's going to be a balanced mix of graphics, episodic content, and promo content. We still want to be promoting the business. There's just other ways to do that. And when you're able to provide resource and more value, you can kind of balance the scale so that your channels just don't turn into commercials all the time. Repeatable formats, as we mentioned, for that consistency and production efficiency. And then really think of this as AI as a co-pilot, not an autopilot. So there is still going to be that human element that's necessary. All right. So I'm starting a business and I want you all to invest, okay? And what we're going to do is take this business and go through this workshop at this time. So if you do have ChatGPT on your phone or would like to install it right now as I go through this, what I'm going to provide you is essentially a way to use these prompts that I provide to create this to create your strategy. Now, I will be sharing this out after the presentation, only to those of you who attended. Exclusive offer, and you got to follow my fan page. It's an example. But here we go. Mock business, the Las Vegas Strip Unicorn Tours. I think this has legs, literally, and I think this can go really far. Now, I'm using Las Vegas Strip Unicorn Tours just to show you that this approach and this framework that we're using can work for all the things, okay? So what is this? This is my business. We're going to have guided unicorn tours down the Strip. The audience is tourists seeking outrageous, unforgettable experiences. The voice is playful, bold, and magical, and cheeky. So exercise 1. If you'd like to do this in real time, I think I may just have like an hour with you or so, but when I did this presentation last, we kind of did this as like a workshop where people kind of took the time to write this out, and I would kind of call on them. I don't know if that's really going to happen this time, but we'll just go through this. So I'm giving you the prompts, okay, for AI. You're going to then add in these prompts to ChatGPT as text, and this is what it will build for you. So prompt number 1, the first thing that you'll see here is that we want to set the role for ChatGPT. So for that instance that you're talking to, you're going to say you're an expert social media strategist. So I'll be like, all right, put on my expert social media strategist hat. You're then going to tell you what's going on. I am building a social media strategy. You're then going to provide some brand context to it. A lot of this is just kind of that foundational. So if you have a pitch deck, this would be a time to upload it into ChatGPT. Now, I would say if your pitch deck includes some proprietary information or tech that you don't want to get out on there, I would definitely advise not uploading that into ChatGPT. But essentially what you want to do is arm ChatGPT with everything about your business so that it can be informed and provide you what it needs, provide you what you need. So then talk about your brand voice. So like 3 to 5 adjectives. Current business objective, for example, drive awareness. I want to drive awareness of these unicorn tours. I'm kind of just starting up right now. And then what another tip is actually ask ChatGPT to acknowledge what you've just told it. So, hey, acknowledge this. restate my brand voice and audience in 2 lines, and list 3 clarifying questions if anything is missing. Okay? So what this is going to be able to do is provide you feedback from ChatGPT, because often it'll be like, hell yeah, let's get it. And it's not going to kind of ask those follow-up questions. So prompt it to do so. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube Live, or you are on your computer, screenshot this and then just throw this screenshot into ChatGPT. Don't feel like you have to write it all out, right? Because it'll recognize what the text is on here. So running this prompt through my Las Vegas Strip Unicorn tours, what we do is we give guided rides on unicorns. We serve tourists. Our voice is playful, bold, magical, and cheeky. So that is what I would input, right? Kind of filling in the blanks here. So always start by training ChatGPT on your brand. This is the foundation for strategy alignment. So we want to make sure also to be role setting, okay? You are an expert social media strategist. This is how I want you to respond. This is what I want you to output. And ask me any clarifying questions if you need any clarification to make you do your job better. So role setting really makes those outputs strategic and not generic. And that's how come you'll kind of see oftentimes when people talk about ChatGPT or AI for ideation, it's like, oh, this is kind of generic. And that's because it's not an LMM problem, it's a you problem, it's a prompt problem. So the better you get at prompting, the better output you'll get. Garbage in, garbage out, right? So content pillars plus objectives. This is exercise 2. So the prompt is, so if we're going to now, this is our business. Now what we're going to do is we're going to define content pillars. So this could be 3 to 4 pillars. And what this is going to do is help put some method to the mayhem. This is going to help you categorize the type of content that your brand puts out on social. So using my brand, context, and objective of awareness, create 3 content pillars. For each pillar, output in a table with the pillar name, how it supports the objective, and 3 example topics. Anyone want to take a picture of this before we move on? Also, with this kind of being as intimate as it is, if anyone has some questions as I'm going through this that you want me to elaborate on, just let me know. Okay. So it exported this as a table for me. Oh, here, let me go back for you one. Here. Got it. Great. So here's the pillars that I came up with my unicorn demo, okay? Vegas magic, creates awareness through wonder and facts. So what are some example topics for that? Neon trivia, strip myths, unicorn legends, tourist moments, builds trust through authentic experiences. So what does that look like? Well, it could be guest selfies, ride reviews, reaction reels. And behind the horn, humanizes the brand with stories. So unicorn care, handler interviews, or behind the scenes prep. So you can see now how it's essentially created these buckets for your content that will really help you strategize and make sure that the content you're producing falls within these buckets. Now, there may be some time when a piece of content kind of straddles these, but more often than not, you're going to want these pillars to be very distinct. Any questions here on kind of how we're moving through this from the prompting, the who we are, then getting into the pillars? Okay. So think of these pillars as a long-term structure. They ensure that your posts ladder back to business goals instead of random post to post. So we definitely want to move away from, what am I posting this week? To, oh, I have these pillars, and what we'll do next is build out your actual content that will have you be set it and forget it. So as mentioned, what makes up a sustainable social media strategy is going to be part 1, which is your episodic video series. So as we saw in what people are expecting is this video content, this kind of short form video. Now, the benefit about doing video series as well, too, is we are at a point now where these platforms have really cannibalized each other's features to where a YouTube short is an Instagram reel, is a TikTok. It's very synonymous now. So what we're wanting to build here, you'll be able to use across different platforms as well, too. Just know that while, there are, I'd say nowadays, platform-specific content, maybe outside of like the dimensions you're using are different. You can use them across platforms. The idea here is that you really just want that hook to be very, very clean and very engaging. And that's like the most important part, okay? So the prompt for this, you're an expert short form video showrunner. So again, telling ChatGPT, assume this role. Using my 3 content pillars and objective of awareness, create 2 episodic series per pillar. Now, what I've done here for this demonstration, not everybody's comfortable with being in front of camera, and that's totally understandable. While I would highly recommend getting comfortable, especially with AI and coming like, well, I guess it's kind of counter to my presentation, but in the sense of people want to interact with humans, getting that human element in there is going to be very important. So I would definitely say if you're comfortable or if you can get comfortable to get in front of the camera. And we'll kind of develop some content series that works with that. But what I want to do in this, because I know that that's not everybody's comfortable with that, is that when I'm asking ChatGPT, I'm saying one without a host and one with a host. They should be less than 30 seconds. What the output is, I want it as a table. Again, have this do the heavy lifting for you. I want this as a table with the pillar, the series name, the format, first episode topic, and then that objective alignment. So here's what it spit out for my unicorn demo. Okay, so we have Vegas Magic again. You recognize the pillars that we just went through and created. The series name is going to be called Unicorn Insider. That format is going to be host-led. Okay, so, and then you have like narration or graphics, street interviews, UGC showcase, host Q&A. But you can essentially see how ChatGPT is now understanding not only who you are, what your pillars are, but then what type of programming or TV episodes are now related to that and their objective as well too. So Vegas Magic, Unicorn Insider, host-led, first episode is Bellagio Fountains plus Unicorns. Vegas Magic could be a graphic that's a did you know that unicorn tours are better than limos? Objective awareness. Tourist moments, free ride reactions or first ride reactions. These can be kind of a street interview format. And at any point, if you want ChatGPT to elaborate on, hey, I really like this tourist moments, or hey, I really don't like, this is duplicate, Easter egg for those of you keeping track. But oh, sorry, this isn't duplicate. That's the pillar. That makes total sense. Say for like Fan Feature Friday, if you're like, yeah, Fan Feature Friday, I don't know if I want to be posting every Friday. I don't know if I'm going to have enough UGC to really showcase that. Just have it updated. Be like, hey, ChatGPT, love these. Be very kind to your ChatGPTs. Okay. Yes. Oh, UGC, so user-generated content. So this would be a good question. This would be something where someone's posting a selfie of them on your tour or things of that. Now, while UGC might not be relevant to every business out there, for unicorn tours, it does make sense, and that's why it's suggesting this. Okay, so these are guest selfie highlights. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is I'm giving you like the whole deal. Okay, we're gonna go from end to end here, from thinking about our programming, but also how do we create that programming. Now, what I'm going to do with this demo is essentially just run this prompt through a single series. But what you would do is run the same prompt through each of your individual series to really flesh that out. So again, you are an expert social video showrunner. So this is telling it, hey, now put on your social video showrunner hat. Take the episodic series of, I think it was, let's just say, I think it was maybe like Vegas Magic that we used. Plan out 6 months of episodes. How good does that sound right now? 6 months of episodes. You could even do a year if you wanted to. I did 6 months because on the following slide, you're going to see that I can only fit 6 months on there, but you can really blow this out. Output as a table with month, episode topic, why it works, Instagram, and post caption. So this is going to be like Instagram post caption. Typically, your Instagram post caption will work pretty similar across other platforms as well too. I would say when it comes to some advice that's not included in this deck, just for those of you watching and tuning in, you get a little takeaway. Social media captions have really moved towards like SEO as well too. So definitely make sure that you're dropping in a lot of your SEO, not stuffing it by any means, but like hashtags on Instagram have become less relevant because they were necessary before to really tell these algorithms what the hell this content is about. Now it's pulling a lot. Especially for like search engines that are indexing and populating some of this in search results, that you're going to want to use a lot of SEO in your post captions. So here's what it did for me for my unicorn demo. So what it did is it took my episodic topic, why it works. Why it works is nice to have, especially if you're if you have a boss that you need to kind of like say, hey, how does this relate to the topics and the business KPIs that we have? So I always do like to have this. Having this as well too for a founder or a solopreneur is really good as well too, because it helps you better understand why the hell you're doing this and why this makes sense for the business. So For, let's just say, let's see here. January, Bellagio Fountain Ride is the episode topic. It leverages iconic Vegas landmark. Did you know Stardust loves the Bellagio fountains almost as much as tourists do? Come see the strip from a whole new perspective on Unicorn Back. So I would definitely say as well too, if you're very particular, you could tell ChatGPT to never use M dashes again or else, and it will not do that. There's actually like I saw this thing come across my feed that was saying like how many people last year told ChatGPT like no M dashes, and it was massive. So that's kind of like the telltale sign that like ChatGPT has been in there. Also, some of the emoji usage too, I'd probably like limit if anything. But for unicorn tours, it's kind of a fun and cheeky, so it does kind of make sense in some capacity. So this is essentially now planning out your episodic topics, your months, and then why it works in your caption. Okay, so again, I'm gonna give away the farm here. So we've developed what our episodes are gonna be. Now let's keep working through this, right? Let's keep drilling down and refining this. So you're gonna tell ChatGPT, you are a social video script writer and director. Write a less than 60-second vertical script and a shot list for the series. Now I'm using a lot of these keywords here just for your reference. If you don't come from a production background, this will really help ChatGPT understand exactly what you need and actually deliver like something that you can actually take away. Now, you're also going to give it some requirements. This is another thing you can do with your ChatGPT instance is making sure that you tell it that, hey, you need to provide this in your answer. So don't be afraid to tell it its requirements. Provide the full spoken script, word for word, with hook, info, outro with a call to action. That's what CTA stands for here. So also then provide the shot list as a table with the script line, shot type. Anyone knows what WS, MS, and CU stands for? Yes? There you go. Nailed it. Yeah. So you got it. You got it. Yep. And so here we go. We can go ahead and in providing this, this is going to give you exactly like super prescriptive what you need to do. Because the last thing I want to do here, and the last thing I want ChatGPT to do is like, hey, here's your episodes. Good luck. So what I want to do here is provide you exact framework of what you could do to make this come to life, right? Okay. Cool. So this is what it provided me. So the episodic topic is Unicorn Insider, Bellagio Fountains plus Unicorn Rides, script, spoken lines, the hook. Think the Bellagio Fountains are the main attractions? Think again, Vegas has unicorns. Now you get into your info. So again, you kind of want to be generating some sort of curiosity. Why should I stick around to watch the rest of this? There are also other hooks out there. You can ask ChatGPT like, hey, utilize, you can Google search this as well too. What are the most popular hooks? You know, it took me 10 years to learn that. It's like there's these hooks that are pretty you'll see the same hooks across social. You'll probably after this you'll be a little bit more aware of what you're seeing, and you'll see that a lot across a lot of different industries and a lot of different formats as well too. So this is just something to keep in mind here. So drive that curiosity, get them to continue watching. Our most popular ride takes you right down the strip on Stardust, our sparkliest unicorn. Did you know more people stop to take photos of Stardust than limos? And yes, kids 5 and up can ride too, making it the most magical family memory in Vegas. Ready to add some sparkle to your Vegas trip? Follow us for more Unicorn Insider episodes and book your ride today. So this is going to, again, give you that framework as far as what you need to be saying for the script. But now we've broken this down to, we've had ChatGPT really break this down for you here, where we say, okay, start with a wide shot with the Bellagio fountains and the unicorns trotting in. Now, there may be some legalities here about like filming on these properties and such, so you might want to double check to make sure that you're not going to get in trouble. But if this is kind of like a public space, you should be okay. But just be mindful of like where you are filming and if some releases may be necessary.
AI.
You could definitely AI, like say, well, not through ChatGPT or like other video AI generators, but the idea here is that you would be kind of on site, like it would kind of be realistic too. This is going to be a video, so think of this as you're at the Bellagio fountains and Either you have somebody there helping film, or you're doing, you're kind of your front-facing camera selfie mode, or you have like a tripod set up that you're kind of filming this. And that's the reason why you're also going to want to just like be able to film these in bulk, because you can kind of just do the first one, end it, do the next one, end it, etc. Good question though. Yeah, absolutely. And so this will be the output of this prompt here if you've gotten this one. Okay. So again, it's going to give you the shot list: wide shot, medium shot, close up, medium shot, close up. Okay. It's also going to provide you on-screen text. On-screen text is nice not only for accessibility, but also it's something that these platforms also kind of scan and read to understand what's going on in the content. And also for people that are listening or watching the content with it muted, this really helps people keep engaged. There's a lot of tools out there now as well too that will kind of provide these captions with kind of visual cues to like follow the word, etc. A lot of what I'm showing here is probably things that you're starting to kind of click and be like, oh, I see this a lot too, actually. Right now, what we're really doing is just putting some method to the mayhem so that you can replicate this yourself and be sustainable. So for exercise 3 debrief, episodic content is predictable, bingeable, and repeatable. So think of them as your Netflix shows for social. Graphic templates. Okay, so this is going to be now the secondary part of your content mix. This is what you're going to do if you see like, quote graphics and things of that nature. This is going to help complement that video content. Now, you could definitely have a channel or an approach that is only video content. Totally fine. But having some graphic elements as well in there, whether they're carousels or just single images, sometimes those perform better. And also, sometimes it's a better way to tell the story outside of a video. So just think of that as far as an option, but I like to say that it is should be included as part of your mix. Okay, so again, with a prompt, you are a brand designer. Create 2 recurring graphic series concepts per content pillar to support awareness. Output as a table with pillar, series name, visual style, example post idea, and why it works. And again, here you can ask, hey, ask me any clarifying questions if you need them, all right? So this is what it came up with the unicorn demo. Vegas magic, tourist moments behind the horn. Again, you see the pillars. So you can kind of see how we're starting to now drill down from that top level pillars we created to the episodic video content, now to the graphic elements. So the series name could be called Did You Know? Or Myth vs. Magic, or a fan feature photo, or Ride Rewind, or Meet the Herd, or Sparkle Secrets. So you can see how each of these series names still relate and are anchored to your content pillars. This is really what's going to help you just strategize and make sure that what you're posting makes sense. And while your followers or fans or audience shouldn't be able to be like seeing a piece of content and being like, oh, that's a Vegas magic pillar. They're not going to know that, but you'll know that. And what you're going to try to do here is kind of build up that habit of tuning by having these recognizable formats. So graphics equal fast, repeatable content. They build visual consistency, and your followers start to recognize your look instantly. So how many of y'all have like a business with a brand and you got your brand colors all set up, right? So this is a great way to kind of reinforce that. So from concept to template, again, I'm taking you through the entire thing that you need. You're then going to prompt ChatGPT, can you create a visual graphic design example of pillar name and series name? So the example, unicorns and limos. Again, I pulled this example from here. We're using this top line here, okay? What I would definitely recommend too as well, with what we're going through in this exercise, is this is going to build you essentially like a social media playbook that you can have as your foundational brand document. So having things included like this. Now, I was on a call today with a founder I'm mentoring, and he was like, do we have to put the tables on the slides? And I was like, no, you can put a link out to a Google Sheets that has it too. So don't feel so confined to this. Do what works best for you. But ultimately, what we're doing in this exercise and what you're able to take away from this workshop is a legit social media playbook for you to utilize, okay? So think of this as how we're now building this for the unicorn demo. So we're using that example of unicorns are better than limos. And this is what ChatGPT spit out, okay? And pretty decent. I don't mind it. It works. I'm good with that. Now, does anyone know the issue with this? This is a hard one.
Well, it's the Gemini one.
No, this isn't. Well, that's actually that's just a little sparkle. But the issue is that currently, um, these AI tools, especially like your ChatGPT AI image generation, it's very hard to get consistency over and over and over again. So if we're trying to create this template in bulk and we just wanted to change this text, I would be remiss to say that I'm confident that ChatGPT will be able to recreate this. Like it's just going to hallucinate and that's going to be that. So I got a workaround that I'm going to teach y'all, okay? But overall, I think that's pretty solid. I like kind of the framework. Now, if I was at this point, again, you can ask ChatGPT, hey, can you make the unicorn maybe blue instead, or change the colors around, or add my logo? You can really work with it. I will say for the free version of ChatGPT, I believe you're able to upload like or generate. You have an upload limit and then also an image generation limit. It might be like 3 to 4 images a day or something like that. So just keep that in mind. I mean, you would be able to build this out, but I'm going to show you how we're going to take these AI generated images and pull them into a tool that you can use to modify them forever. All right, so you are a social content strategist. Take this recurring graphic series, plan out 6 months of post, output as a table with month on-screen text, OST, or main visual, why it works, and that Instagram post caption, which should be about less than 160 words. So here we go. This gives me my 6 months of content. This is going to be my on-screen text. It's going to be playful and compassionate. Biggest unicorn pro tip. It's going to give me everything I need here. And kind of like, Vegas weddings with unicorns get 3 times more photos shared. So this is going to give me everything I need for my graphic templates for this graphic episodic content here. So this step turns your ideas into a visual concept. It doesn't need to be final, but it's a way to see how the series could look. However, consistent recreation of templates is difficult for ChatGPT to create. I've actually moved to using like Google AI Studio for my image generation, but even that has like a certain amount of times you can use it, etc. So I try to keep this very scrappy for founders who may not have the budgets to kind of, pay for these tools. But what I'm going to show you next is how to basically, even if you're using the free version, to make this work for you, okay? So what we want to do is isolate graphic elements, okay? So we're going to ask the prompt to create a transparent PNG of, say, the unicorn in the design in the same style. No background, transparent PNG. So what this will do, this will take the did you know, and this will actually isolate it for you now into a transparent PNG. So if you have Photoshop or Photoshop Lite or any other like image editor, this is how to take that ChatGPT conceptualized image, slice it up, and then pull that into that software that you can then use to edit the text and things of that nature. So I thought this was pretty smart as far as just using ChatGPT to kind of like cut this stuff up for you. This is going to allow you to pull things into programs like Canva, for example. And really, instead of generating the finished post every time, create building blocks once, then reuse. This keeps your look consistent across platforms. So again, Canva assembly workflow here. I just pulled this into Canva. I pulled in all the elements. I imported all the transparent PNGs. I placed the neon unicorn and sparkles as static design elements. I then added an editable text field here. And then this is going to allow me to then update all these in bulk. So what I would do is, if I'm looking at 6 months, I would reference what my 6 month of graphic design that it told me to put as my on-screen text. And I would just, there was a tool in Canva. I don't know where it went, but you could just like, it was like a plugin that pulled up like just, hey, write in all the text that you want in these graphics and it'll just take it and like automatically spin it for you. I tried to find it and gone. I don't know where it went. But in any case, this is going to allow you to just edit these very quickly, okay? So what I would recommend, take an hour, build all these out, and then you're set with this series for the rest of the year. Make 12 of them. So Canva or any editor is where consistency happens. AI gives you the ingredients. Canva gives you the reusable recipe. Okay, so we've gone through content strategy, creating the content, filming the content, what that looks like, the scripts for the content, all the things. Now let's put this all together in a monthly editorial calendar. So we're going to, again, go back to our prompt and we're going to say, you are a social media strategist. Build a 1-month social media editorial calendar using the content we've created. Our business objective is awareness. Now give it again some guidelines. Include each episodic series once per month. Include each graphic series once per month. Add 2 product or service promotional posts, and then spread that content evenly across the month. So with what we're doing with this fun educational content, definitely add in a product or 2 in there, a product promotion, totally okay. Especially if it's like a new product or something like that. So you wanted again to output it as a table with date, content type, series name, topic idea, and a short Instagram caption with less than 160 words. So this is what it provided me. Now, say, for example, if this was my September, like I'm looking at this as a founder and I'm like, man, this is pretty. This is everything I need to know, everything I need to do. So you have your episodic video, your graphic, your promo post, episodic video, graphic, promo post. Everything you need here with IG post copy, what the topic of idea is. If you need to drill down into what each of these are, you would just reference previous slides that you created. But what this is going to do is create a replicable monthly editorial calendar that I suggest running every month, okay? Just run it. This is your always on. Do the same thing every single month. This is going to build that habit of tune in where people are going to know. I'm not going to say that it's going to get to the point where people are like, oh man, I got to make sure I don't miss the unicorn tours tip this month, and they're going to come back to your channel. But what it will do is it will build that reinforcement of when they do see it, it's like, oh, I've seen this before. Humans love patterns, okay? And so making those patterns is really going to make your content very sticky. Yeah, what's up? Oh, you're good, you're good. I'm not keeping track. Okay.
So for example, I guess, but I've already done this. I've booked up my events at the library for 6 months up until June. So each month is a different thing. So would I be starting over each month?
Yeah, good question. So what do you do? What's the business? Events?
Yes, so I bring daycare or play care
Yep.
to the library.
My wife's due in March, so I'll be hitting you up. Okay, okay. Okay, very good. So the question was, I don't have like a consumer product. I do daycare or play care at events. And so if I know that these events are coming out, do I need to update my content here to reflect those events coming out, right? Because while this looks rigid, you don't want to be like building all this out and then it'd be like, well, I have this event coming up this month, right? So you missed the beginning slides, but there's a section for what we term nimble content. And so what this is going to do is this is going to provide you your baseline content, okay? This is your what you term always on. So this is going to allow you to, when that event comes out or is coming out, to have a, hey, I'm going to be here, or, here's coverage of the event or whatever. But that's just a complement to this. Yeah, yeah. Did that answer your question?
That's the thing. The thing is my follow-up question.
Mhm.
So, like March is St. Patrick's Day, February is Black History Month,
Yep.
but it's also the love month. So
Yep.
am I also, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is every month, am I having to start over, or am I able to utilize is the groundwork already there for me, and then I just,
You're thinking like a marketer. I love it. Yeah. So to restate the question, say February is, Valentine's Day love month or whatever. Will this content pillars and formats work for that, or do I need to change that up? Now, by design, these are going to be very interchangeable. So yes, you can say in February is maybe it's let me see here. Tourist first unicorn encounter, first ride reactions. Let's just say if this was in February, right? Maybe the context of how you have a container of that is, man, it was love at first sight here for Jacob and Sparkles. So you can kind of retool it based upon, but you brought up a very good point that we will cover in a few slides. But yes, love the thinking. But know that you can also then say to ChatGPT, hey, my content, my content buckets that we have. My episodic content. February is Valentine's Day. What of that episodes? Ask it. What of these episodes can I retool for Valentine's? And knowing that, it'll create that for you, okay? Yeah, great question. So AI calendars act as your fast draft, refine the mix for your actual campaigns and capacity, right? Right? Man, perfect, perfect. Okay, so this brings me into our omni-channel calendar. I am such a proponent of this. I do social media marketing, yes, but this is something I love. I need it. I help with the agency that I work for. This is something that I try to get every client on. Essentially, an omni-channel calendar is many channels and what all is going on, okay? So you're gonna ask, again, it's not you're a social media strategist here. You're gonna tell ChatGPT, you're an integrated marketing strategist. So all the things integrating together, okay? Create a 12-month omni-channel marketing calendar that supports our business objective of awareness. So at this point, what you may want to do is if you have an events calendar, hey, I know I always go to SEMA, or I always know I go to these events, or I already have that calendar planned out. Chuck that in here too at that time, okay? We're also going to have this reflect holidays and things of that nature if it makes sense to you. But what we're going to ask is to upload to output this with columns that are months, rows that are channels. So what's going on with your ad promotions? What blogs are you writing? What emails are going out? What events are going on? And what's social doing? Again, this is seeing how everything ladders up together. So nothing's working in a silo. It's all working together. Make sure that the campaigns across channels connect with each other so social content ladders up to larger marketing initiatives. So this will pop out for you here. And again, this may be one of those instances where you link out to a Google Sheets or something. Don't feel or that you need to include everything on here. This is for illustrative purposes only. But you could see this should almost have more things going on as well too. But you could see like ad promotions, what the blogs are doing, what the emails, if there's new products coming out, what events am I going to, what are the social campaigns. And so this will now give you an entire marketing calendar that you can make sure that your social media is aligned to. For April, for example, right? Cinco de Mayo parade clips, April Fool's invisible unicorn gag, right? So some of this, Valentine's Love is Magical reels. So it's Meet the Herd, where you're introducing, some of the unicorns, but you're able to kind of retool that for February specifically for Valentine's Day. So really what that omni-channel calendar does is it's going to ensure that consistency. It's going to de-silo that social media support, and that AI provides the skeleton and you layer in the execution details. So I wanted to just show what an example omni-channel calendar could look like, but I would encourage everybody to get that as a foundational, I need this for my business document, aside from just social. I like to get my clients to build out this omni-channel calendar because for social media, especially outside of my always on content, I'd like to know ahead of time, like what's going on so that I can build content accordingly. Yeah.
Can you export that into your calendar easily?
Into your Google Calendar or anything like that? Yeah, so I probably don't have like a firm answer, but you could probably just say like, hey, export this as a whatever Google ingests as like a calendar invite or something like that, and it could probably do that. Could probably, maybe, but good thinking. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. All right, so let's get into the bonuses here. We're almost to the end, but the boosting organic posts. So again, we want to put fuel in the engine. So you are a paid social strategist. Our social content is organized into 3 pillars, 1, 2, and 3. We want to boost organic posts tied to these pillars. Our business objective is awareness, engagement, or conversion. So choose whichever one of these are. For each pillar, recommend 1 to 2 audience targeting options we can use for boosting on Meta, for Facebook or Instagram, and output as a table with pillar, audience type, targeting details, and why it works. So I will say, while we are putting some targeting details in here, as far as like, hey, I want to target tourists, or I want to target parents, or this case, at this point, Meta platforms have something called like audience plus targeting, to where like it is going to recognize like the AI algorithms that these tools use as well too, is going to be good enough to like not have to specify unless like you need to provide it like some, for example, I just created some ads for an event, and it was like, I want to make sure that it's 25 miles of Vegas and it's targeting 25 to 35. Like I give it those parameters to really define. But as far as like interest targeting goes, Facebook's going to want to make this work for you, or Meta's going to want to make this work for you and deliver it to the right people. So just making sure that you do this. Now, when we do boost at the agency I work for, we just go through and we boost the organic content to our followers. Okay, that ensures that they see it. Now, there's also paid media who runs Facebook ads or Meta ads, and those are called dark posts, or you don't see them live in feed, but they're ads that appear on the timeline, and that's going to be more of like your conversion pieces as well too. So there's a distinction between boosting organic posts versus running paid media ads. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, cool. They're both complementary to each other. Say, for example, if I was a financial institution and I was a new credit card just came out or something like that, I would have my paid media ads promoting credit cards and the values and the rates and the benefits there. And then for my organic content that I would boost, maybe a financial service specialist saying 3 ways to improve your credit score. So it's balancing out. You're using the right things, right tactics and methods for the right messaging and objective. Okay. But that's an example of how social can support sales. It's just not going to be overtly banging people over the head with your organic content that they need to go get a credit card right now. Okay? So AI can act like your targeting assistant, saving you time when setting up boosts in Meta. So quick replies. This is another thing that really helps kind of shave. I mean, anytime you're able to shave off, the better. So you can say you are a community manager, create 10 quick replies for FAQs about my brand. Output as a table with FAQ topic, suggested reply with name, placeholder, and keep replies short, on brand, and friendly. So this is for like when you're running your page. Quick replies are very nice for like your FAQs. I'd say like if you have a small audience and not a lot of comments coming through or messages coming through, like you could still kind of get in there and personalize a little bit or have fun with it. But just, use the person's name when you reply. They definitely love that. Everyone loves hearing their name.
So the frequently asked questions, everybody, how much does it cost? Or
Yep.
you're out. Then we'll go AI. They're like, hey, so I think great question.
Yeah, so good question. The question was, will AI be writing these or replying? Not for this. What this is doing is it's taking your current FAQs and just spinning out a bunch of quick replies that you can use. So there's still that manual of I need to copy and paste this into as a reply. But what this can do is essentially just provide you different variations. Like I would say if there's one that's like, how much? Hey, Jacob, tours start at $49. Or kids allowed? Yep. Kids 5+ can ride with the parent. I would say I could then ask ChatGPT as well too, just in case you get this question a lot, so this doesn't seem like you're just like canning it. You can be like, hey, give me 3 variations of this reply, right? So it's kind of a way to get that going for you as well too. This is typically for like much bigger brands, for like that, like, man, like I got 30 comments I need to get through. This is gonna help you out here, but quick replies is just a little bonus. So it helps founders manage comments faster while keeping tone consistent. So when we talk about reporting and scheduling here, I highly recommend not setting monthly goals, okay? I would set annual goals. And the social media goals should ladder up to your yearly business objectives, not reactive month-to-month shifts. So why did, man, sometimes it's like, well, why did March not perform as well as February? It's like, well, we had our love campaign in February for Valentine's Day, and that generated a lot of buzz. And we didn't have that in March for St. Patrick's, or maybe I think is whatever it is. But like when you start looking at it that granular, it's just gonna mess things up. So what you want to do here is what I would recommend is track progress quarterly, run this content strategy for about 3 months, the same formats, the same consistency, right? Before making any changes, and then project that forward. So use that first 3 months of performance data, times that by 4 to then forecast your annual outcomes. Now, adjust that for seasonality as well. So if you know that, man, business really picks up in December, account for that, right? So it's going to give you a rough estimate. And then once the year's over, you will have kind of some guidelines. As long as you're not, investing new budget or things like that, you're just going to want to account for anything net new you add. So you're doing apples to apples and year-over-year comparisons. But this is going to take you away from like, oh man, this month did worse than the other month, I'm failing. It's like, no, we need to run this. This is also going to allow you to look at the content themes that you're doing and compare them against themselves. So for example, I wouldn't compare a unicorn tour graphic that says unicorns are better than limos. I wouldn't compare that against a talking head video, right? They're just not the same content. What I would do is I would compare, hey, maybe the shorter ones actually seem to be working better, where I don't have as much text on the screen. So making sure that you're evaluating content against its same content group and not just against things that don't make sense. Otherwise, you're going to be changing content all the time. And just know some content, its role in the ecosystem of your content, it is what it is. So a giveaway post is always going to outperform maybe a product related post. That doesn't mean that you need to stop your product post. It just means that, yeah, I need to not compare the two together. So everything works hand in hand. Even if something's a lower performer, judge that against itself and not against the content mix. Is that making sense? It's kind of like very crucial here. Otherwise, you're just going to be continually spinning your wheels. Keep it simple. Focus on 2 to 3 core KPIs tied to objectives. One thing as well too with this, it's so difficult in this industry to kind of keep track with algorithmic changes and things of just like, hey, Facebook just decided to destroy reach. It's like, well, how do my annual goals now? I need to adjust to that. So just know that it's volatile, and that's just something that you need to recognize. Scheduling tools, I would highly recommend some free or low cost options. There's Buffer, Publer. Someone corrected me on my pronunciation of that last session. Meta Business Suite, and this is on YouTube here, so we won't say what I said. They help automate the process of posting across platforms. So these platforms like Instagram and Facebook do allow like you to schedule content through them. I would recommend having like a tool that's inexpensive that's also going to help you with your reporting as well too. But really you want to conceptualize the content, build the content, schedule the content, then get back what you need to do, and then run that nimble content. So think about this: consistency is always better than volume. A steady, achievable post rhythm beats erratic burst. Platforms love consistency, so do your audience. And so when I showed this demo of the Unicorn Tour and I had 8 posts a month, maybe that's too much. Maybe start off with 4 and scale up. Maybe start off with 2. Really do what's comfortable with you. But hopefully what this framework will provide is a way to ideate, create, and publish to get you up to that frequency that you may want. So this is not legal advice, but some things to be aware of is copyright and ownership of AI generated content. So AI generated works are not currently protected by copyright in the US unless they show substantial human authorship or alteration. So this is it's such a gray area because you can like slice and dice a graphic and then pull that into Canva, rework it, and then maybe add another element to it yourself, and that will work. But always edit, adapt, or combine AI outputs with your own work. Commercial use of assets. So some tools like ChatGPT or DALL-E allow commercial use, but check the terms of the service for each platform. Avoid generating content using trademark characters, logos, or celebrities. There's just a high risk of infringement there. For some music, audio, AI generated music it still carries a legal gray area. Stick to royalty-free libraries or platform native sounds for TikTok or Reels. There is a website for Meta that's called, you might want to write this down. It's called Sound Library. So just search Meta Sound Library. And the first result there is going to take you to a page. You'll have to be logged into Facebook, but it will provide you a full-on archive list of songs that you can use in ads and everything as well too. So it protects you that way. Model of the person's rights. Even if AI creates a random face, it may resemble a real person. Avoid using a synthetic likeness that could cause confusion or misrepresentation. So in closing, AI doesn't replace creativity, makes it sustainable. You're going to have a smarter strategy. You're going to have faster content, and you're going to have consistent execution. All right. Any questions? Yeah.